wonderful activist groups, and they've got something coming up in about 2 weeks. Tracy can tell us some more.
I'll take this out too. I have the unenviable job of following Daniel Biz and being the cleanup hitter on a long night. So I think there's 2 things I've got to do. 1 is wake you up, and 2 is talk to you about something really important, and that's minimum wage. Who in here has ever worked for a minimum wage job? Who knows how long it's been since the minimum wage workers have gotten a raise? Anybody? Not Michelle, who's cheating. Anybody? At the federal level? 2009. At the state level? 2011.
1976.
Aha, it's too long. Are we on our slides? Can we get those up? We've been waiting a long time to see minimum wage worker situations improve themselves, and it's time to stop waiting. 36 different counties and municipal areas have taken action on their own, and the city of Chicago and Cook County are 2 of those areas. And it matters to us here tonight because that Cook County ordinance affects us. Jump back to 2015. The city of Chicago will make the decision to slowly move the workers' minimum wage in the city up from $8.25 to $10 to $11, $12, and $13 over a sequence of years. A year later, in fall 2016, Cook County will make the decision to do mirror legislation that will start taking effect this July 1st, right here in Northbrook and Glenview and Northfield, except. And this is important, and this is why we're talking about this here tonight. When the Cook County Board of Commissioners voted to accept and mirror the city of Chicago's Cook County wage increase, it was a divided vote. There were 13 commissioners in favor and 3 against. And one of those commissioners has taken the time to go out and encourage municipalities in the Cook County area to opt out and essentially take back the rights of these Cook County workers to their increase in minimum wage and a sick leave benefit of up to 5 days per year. And that's where all of us need to get involved and where the activism has started. Here tonight in the room is Reverend C.J. Hawking from Arise Chicago, which is one of the organizations that has been leading this campaign to keep these rights that Cook County Board fought for Cook County workers, and to make sure our local municipalities do not quickly and quietly take those hard-earned rights back from our workers. So here's a little bit of information about the timeline we just talked about. This is what will happen on July 1st if Northbrook and Glenview and Northbrook sit back and let these benefits finally come to our workers, let it finally bear their turn. It will be $10 in July and then $1 a year, and 40 hours a week earns you up to 6? It's 5 days of paid sick leave. What does this mean for people? I know that when a lot of you think about minimum wage, you think about college kids or seniors, but that's not the reality of what minimum wage looks like here in Cook County. There are 420,000 Cook County workers earning a minimum wage. And of that 420,000, 82% of them are 21 and older and supporting a family. And I use the word supporting very loosely, because that is not a wage that allows you to support a family. In the Cook County metro area, for one individual on their own, you need to be closer to, voila, $13, the target range of the City of Chicago and Cook County ordinance in order to be able to support yourself. And if you're supporting one dependent, a child, that number goes up to nearly $25. So even with this meaningful increase, we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that our workers are able to take care of themselves and their families. This goal, by the way, is entirely consistent with the Democratic Party's platform, which is the reason that we're all here tonight and talking about this. In fact, they would go even farther, labeling these wages starvation wages and encouraging the cities and counties and states to move up to a level of $15 an hour. Now the bad news. Northbrook is one of the municipalities, unfortunately, where there's discussion of taking these rights away. Of the 132 Collier County communities, only 10 or 12 of them have actually taken the step of taking these rights away from our workers. But about double that number are looking at that question. And Northbrook is going to be a critical suburb in that decision-making process, because we are a border community, and because there are communities to the south and to the west of us who are also debating this question. And so it's important that all of us get involved, and that we all stand strongly behind the rights of our workers. Wheeling and Arlington Heights are 2 of the villages that have this before them right now as well. The good news, we already know that you care. We were polled on this issue in 2014 and 2016, and the results tell us that Northbrook and Northfield Township stand strongly behind our workers' rights to these increases. 67% voted in favor of increasing the minimum wage, and 72% voted in favor of paid sick leave. This is the right thing to do. Will it be tough for some businesses? Sure, but it will be manageable. And we know that if we put this money into the hands of our minimum wage workers, they will spend it. This is a virtuous cycle for our economic system, and it's one that's worth the calculations that businesses will have to make to get this done. It's our workers' turn to have our concern and our support behind them for these ordinances. How can you help? Did you get a flyer? Does everybody have a flyer? Wave some flyers, show me your wave. Who's got a flyer on their chair? Excellent, that's exactly the flyer I'm looking for. The front side of that flyer with the pretty graphics that would be in color if I had a color copier today. That was done by the wonderful team at Arise Chicago and Open Communities. That gives you some of the factual background, the key points that I went over in the slideshow today. Also contact information, feel free to reach out to us. If you flip it over on the back side, that's your to-do list. That's what I need from everybody here tonight. If you live in Northbrook, we need you to sign our online petition. This is sort of the ground zero for where we're getting together the names of the people who will make sure that these workers' rights are protected. That petition address, it's on the back side there, arisechicago.nationbuilder.com/WFC-Northbrook. Go there on your phones. You can go there right now. If you're back channeling, I'm all for that. Get on your phones and do it. We have at least 2 Wi-Fi enabled iPads here tonight. If you don't trust yourself to go home and do it, stay. Do it. Right here tonight. You can give to Daniel too on that iPad. Those are things we can do tonight. Step number 2, emails. That's our next step. We were very fortunate to have Reverend CJ and the team from Open Communities and a group of community activists, some of whom are in the room tonight, Michelle Kohler, Julie Rosner, Herb Brenner, join us for a very productive meeting with the village president, the village manager, and the assistant director of village development. And what they told us is that they need to hear from all of you. They want to have emails in this record that will substantiate their decision to stand by the workers of Northbrook and say that this is what the voters want, and this is what the village board and trustees should do. So I need you to hit those emails, get messages out to those 2 addresses, tell why it matters to you. You know, talk about your experiences with the workers in Northbrook, or with minimum wage, or whatever resonates with you personally. If you need some facts, feel free to flip that flyer over and pop in some of the data we've provided, or to reach out to us for more. They want to hear from us, and they want to hear from us in our own words. The last thing, and this is critical, this will absolutely be up before the village board for discussion at the May 23rd board meeting. It will be before the newly sworn-in board, one of our trustees of whom is here tonight. They will have the chance to visit this issue with all of us. It is almost certain to be up for debate. There may or may not be a vote or an action item on the agenda. We know that there is some opposition to this. We know that the Chamber of Commerce and the Industrial and Commercial Development Commission, on which the Chamber of Commerce sits, have asked them not to do this. So there will be a discussion. We need to be there in force. We need to have numbers in that room, and we need to have people ready to speak as residents of Northbrook, to speak as workers in Northbrook, and to speak as business owners in Northbrook, to say, honestly, red or blue, it's time to do the right thing for our workers. The voters have called for it, and we're going to stand behind our vote and behind our workers. So that's where we need you. You can reach out to Michelle and I. You can reach out to Reverend CJ at Arise. You can reach out to Open Communities, or to any of those organizing committee members, Julie, Herb, Michelle, that I mentioned that are here tonight. Please sign the petition and take the next steps with us. And we're ready to get moving on this. We've got one last slide. Plug for the next event. I know a couple of people mentioned this here tonight. This is a joint resistance event. This is the first time the North Suburban organizations are going to do this. So United Advocacy is going to band together with Action for a Better Tomorrow Northern Suburbs and Indivisible 10th. We've also likely got Go Green Northbrook on board. Our group right here, the Democrats of Northfield Township, the legislators who are in this room, and we're going to have a panel led up by Illinois State Representative Robin Gable, who represents a portion of East and Southeast Northfield Township, Jennifer Walling from the Environmental Council, and Jack Darren from the Sierra Club, hosted for us over at Northbrook United Methodist Church. So save that date. This is an opportunity to network and get to know the different organizations that are active here locally in the area, as well as obviously to learn about an important issue at the local, state, and federal level. So with that, if anybody has any questions about the minimum wage issue, I'm happy to field them quickly. I know it's late, but if you have any, I'm happy to answer them before we go. We got one.
What's the reason behind suppressing that?
The reason that
Yeah, why are they?
So there's the big business and the small business rationale. The big businesses mostly say to us, oh, this should be a state issue. This should be handled at the state level. But as we've heard from a lot of our legislators here tonight, they can't tie their shoes right now in Springfield. And the workers have been waiting too long. It's already 6 years here in Illinois. Bare minimum 2 more before we put someone in charge who will stand with our workers. They've waited too long. It's time to move this along.
Okay, so
For the small businesses, it's mostly a matter of hard math. And they need to sit down and start trying to figure out how to do that hard math to a T. The individual business owners have talked about why they don't want to do that math. They're not really sitting down and doing it yet. And the thing is, the workers have been doing this for years. They've been deciding, do I need a second job? Do I need a third job? Am I going to be home tonight with my kids? Do I apply for food stamps? And it's time to ask all the businesses to start making some of those hard choices too, and to stand behind our workers.
So on that note, can we also refuse Cook County sugar tax?
I'm not speaking on the sugar tax tonight, but we can reserve that for a
That
future
seems highly
meeting.
hypocritical to just take selective laws.
It was not written that way, unfortunately.
Let's see if we've got anything else we need to do before we wrap up today.
You know, I just want to say one thing, if I could. We're going to finish up right now, but, you know, this is a great issue to me of what it means to be a Democrat, because we've been talking about income inequality for how many years now? And sure, we should have a federal minimum wage. We should have a better tax system. There's a lot of things we should have. The battle happens to have landed right in Northbrook, though, because what Northbrook does is going to affect other municipalities. Sure, it should be statewide. It may be tough on some of the business owners. What the Chamber of Commerce should be doing is saying, you know what? This is right, and we should be fighting with the rest of the state to get it uniform. No, it's not good if Northbrook does it and Glenview doesn't, or Buffalo Grove does, or Wheeling doesn't. That's not the way to do it. It ought to be statewide, it ought to be national. But the battle happens to be here. We can make a dramatic statement as to who we are, what we stand for, and what the battle ought to be. And I want everybody with us on this. This is going to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.